Renato Moicano will absolutely destroy Beneil Dariush this Saturday at UFC 311. Hear me out, boys. I believe that Money Moicano, he's gonna really just be better than Beneil Dariush. Let's look at the tail of the tape. All right, both of these guys are 35. Both of these guys have similar heights. Both of these guys have similar reaches. When you look at Money Moicano, you see a fighter who is maybe on the come up. I mean, obviously we know his age, but you know he's still coming up. Maybe he can fight for a title in future years. Meanwhile, Beneil Dariush, he's just he's a great fighter, obviously, but he's coming off those two losses to Arman and Charles, which we'll get into a little bit later. And he's 35. He looks like he's 50 with all that gray hair. But still, Money Moicano is looked at someone who can fight for a title in the future, while Beneil Dariush is someone who, like, quite frankly, is never gonna probably see gold any time in his career. And I truly don't even believe this fight should be happening, though. Let's talk about that now. Renato Moicano is coming off beating BSD, absolutely murdering BSD, I should say. 10-8ing oh my gosh, I can't say his name. Benoit Saint-Denis, I'll just say. Moicano has put it on Benoit Saint-Denis for a whole 2 rounds almost, and you know, he was a much better fighter in that fight. He had a lot of hype coming after that fight, and there was just so much options you could have given him, like Michael Chandler, like Patty the Batty, like freaking Justin Gaethje, Dan Hooker. All of those guys are free right now, and now we gave him Beneil Dariush. I mean, that is a very boring fight. It's probably the most boring fight they could have given him in the division. I believe Moicano is ranked 10th or 9th right now, and I think Beneil Dariush is ranked 8th. So it's not that big of a step up in the rankings. But that's not the point, because if they give him Patty the Batty's like, what, 14th, 13th right now? And even that would have been a much, much better fight for him. Obviously, they have beef. This was just such a boring fight. I'm hyped about it. Anytime Renato Moicano is fighting, I'm gonna be hyped about it. But that's another thing I want to talk about. I want to look at this fight. Moicano has so much hype going into this fight. Even still, he still has that hype, and I'm really excited to see what he can do. Obviously, he's on a huge winning streak right now. His last loss was to RDA, and he took that on short notice and barely lost. So he has serious hype behind him. Like I said earlier, Beneil Dariush, so he's coming off 2 KO losses. I think every fight in his career that he's lost has been finished. He's been finished, and 5 of those have been from KO. So a little bit of concern about his chin now after losing 2 KO losses. Beneil doesn't have much. Beneil doesn't have much left in the tank. Like I said, I've seen an interview. I don't know how popular it is, but he was talking about how retirement is in the near future. Moicano has nothing to lose. Moicano cannot afford to lose. He says this in every interview. He says this on his YouTube channel. Money Moicano, I cannot afford to lose, brother. I cannot afford to lose. Well, Beneil Dariush is talking about retirement, dude. This reminds me of the Stipe John Jones fight. Stipe was kind of teasing a retirement after. It wasn't that focused on the fight. And we seen what happened to Stipe Miocic. He got dog walked. At the end of the day, I don't care what you say. He got dog walked, dude. He didn't face. He didn't. All right, we'll just keep it on Money Moicano versus Beneil Dariush. Yeah, that's how I see the tail of the tape, I guess. But I do want to talk about how I actually see the fight going. So. Obviously, both of you guys are jiu-jitsu guys, but I do think it is important to note that Moicano's jiu-jitsu, not Moicano's jiu-jitsu, Moicano's striking has improved a lot. In Jalen Turner fight, we saw him doing okay on the feet with Jalen Turner. In that BSD fight, the second round, I think BSD was getting better of him, but still, BSD's a lethal striker, and Moicano is putting up with him. And yeah, so how I see the fight going, I think Moicano drops him. Beneil Dariush is probably a little bit shinny, so I could see Moicano totally dropping him, or I could see him taking it down. And how I see Moicano actually winning this fight, I could see a submission, but what I do see more likely is that ground and pound, because that ground and pound from Moicano is dangerous. We've seen what he did to BSG, just pounding elbows on him, relentless, and we've seen it before. Beneil Dariush, I don't know. Moicano drops Beneil Dariush, does some ground and pound, and that's gonna be the fight. It won't be close. Beneil Dariush doesn't have the passion, doesn't have the motivation. I made a video about fighters who lost their passion. Maybe I should have put him in it. I talk really fast, man. But yeah, Beneil Dariush doesn't have it in him, and that's how I see that fight going. But I do want to talk about the rest of the fights on the card. Nothing ahead of it, all the fights behind it. But even then, there is still some pretty good fights behind it, like Kevin Holland versus Reinier de Ridder. There's a very interesting fight. Renato de Ridder's last fight was against GM3, and it was a battle of who has the worst head movement in the UFC. And Kevin Holland, who's a goofy fighter, he's win one, lose one type of guy, journeyman. So I don't know. I've been a Kevin Holland fan for a while. It's just like these performances, man, they're so underwhelming. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that I think Renato de Ritter can win it. Obviously one double champ. So I think he's just better all around it. And Bedtime has made some jokes about Renato de Ritter being a knockoff Drickus. That's another thing I want to talk about. Me being Bedtime MMA. I've seen relentless hate comments on me saying that I'm the knockoff Bedtime MMA. I've seen one that said I was Morning Time MMA, and I'm gonna be honest, that one hurt the most. But you know, I got Renato de Ritter in that fight. Now let's look at the prelims. We have Johnny Walker versus Bogdan Gustav. That fight actually got canceled, so I'm not gonna talk on that. Then we have Peyton Starboy Talbot versus Ronnie Barcelos. I don't know. I'm not gonna act like I know Renato Barcelos, but Peyton Talbot should get that done. Jonathan Almeida versus Sergey Spivak. That's another great fight. I think Jonathan Almeida is gonna get that done with his jiu-jitsu. Sergey Spivak, he's just one of those blobs at heavyweight, and I just don't see much from him. And yeah, man, it's a stacked card all around. We have fights like Tajir Olembekov versus Clayton Carpenter. That Japanese prospect, sorry if he's not Japanese, I'm gonna get canceled now. But Rinya Nakamura fighting, and Grant Dawson, man, Grant Dawson, lightweight prospect against Diego Ferreira. So this is gonna be a very good card. Obviously, we do have the three main fights: Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan, Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov, Yuri Prochazka, and Jamal Hill. All three of those fights are gonna be great, and I'm really excited for this card. 311, 1 month off, no UFC. It's gonna be good, boys. Thank you guys for watching. Octagon Outpost out.